Hey, it's Mike Joels from LA Shear. I'm the guy in the hair industry who's been seeking out the best hair products from around the world and bringing them to you. Today, I'm bringing you something much better, and it's a solution which is very personal to me. You might have heard of Dr. Robert Nettles from Beverly Hills, and he has cracked the code on regrowing hair without surgery or anything you've heard of before. Fact, 50% of your male clients will lose 50% of their hair by the time they're 50. So you really want to listen to this. For those of you who saw me earlier this year, you will know that I was on a one-way ticket to Baldsville. I was considering a hair transplant. I tried everything I could find and had exhausted every other product in the market. Nothing had worked. Luckily, I ran into Dr. Nettles. What really sold me on Dr. Nettles is the fact that he has a money-back guarantee. No other program or product offers that. I told Dr. Nettles that if it really worked, I would let everyone in the hair industry know about it. Check this out. Here I am today, December 7th, less than 5 months later. I'm blown away with the results. This program really works. I'm so excited by the science behind this program and learning about hair loss that I wanted to share this knowledge with you also. After having a discussion with the doctor, we decided to come up with a promotion company that would do two things. One, educate the stylists and also create an affiliate program so the stylists can be financially compensated for their important role. After watching this video, you're going to have a basic understanding of how the program works. You're also going to learn about the science behind hair loss and how to regrow your client's hair with this proven medical method. And you're also going to know how you can refer your clients, make some extra money, and if you're interested, how to become a hair regrowth expert. 50% of your clients will lose their hair by the time they're 50. In this video, we'll show you all the details. So without further ado, I would like to introduce to you Dr. Nettles.
Hey guys, this is Dr. Nettles, and we're going to talk about the future of hair loss. And the future of hair loss starts with the hairstylist identifying miniaturized hair loss patterns so that we can send them in to see doctors and make a personalized medical cocktail to improve their hair loss. The facts are, by the time someone sees a doctor, they've already lost 50% of their hair loss. So early identification of miniaturization is the future, and hairstylists are on the front line of hair loss. So why study genetic hair loss? And I'm often asked this question, but as Plato mentioned, necessity is the mother of invention. As you see in the picture, the very top is the picture of my older brother, and it goes all the way down to the youngest brother on the left. I saw my dad go bald, and then I saw my older brother's hair thin before it turned bald, happened to the next brother and the next brother, and I thought this could definitely happen to me. My high school thesis paper was The Fabulous Predestined Future. We've been studying genetic engineering for going on 25 years, and we've solved the puzzle of hair loss. Necessity, as we mentioned, is the mother of invention. This was a picture on the left before I started on the program, where the miniaturization between the full hair follicles allowed for the hair to look thin through the top of the scalp generalized. And today, my hair is as thick as it was when I was in my 20s. So why are you here today, the stylist? Why would you be coming to a seminar about hair loss? Well, because hair like this is difficult to style, and hair like this is impossible to style. So what scientifically causes androgenetic alopecia in men aged 20 to 40 years old? Well, if we actually break down this word androgenetic alopecia, we would find out that alopecia equals hair loss, androgen equals testosterone, and genetic means it's inside your genes. So what causes a genetic inside your genes change in the androgen or the testosterone that leads to hair loss? It's a small difference of one gene inside our DNA that are inherited from our parents that lead to a little imbalance in our hormones, which leads to high DHT. In the class, we go over exactly what DHT is, but it's dihydrotestosterone, very similar to testosterone with a couple of extra hydrogens added to it. So it causes not only the hair follicles to thin, 20% in your 20s, 30% in your 30s, 40% in your 40s, and 50% in our 50s. It also leads to the prostate to grow prematurely. So the testosterone converts into the DHT, and you can see here in the pictograph that it actually attaches to the follicle, causing the follicle to miniaturize over time, and that's what we're looking for with the hairstylist to identify in the consult. So, what are the zones of hair loss? Well, Norwood has a scale for balding, but there's also a pattern for hair loss thinning. And in the first three zones, 1, 2, and 3, there's receding hairline. So, the worst hair is actually at the hairline and then it recedes back. In zone 4, it's generalized hair thinning across the area. And in zone 5, it starts in the very center and goes out like a little circle. These are the types of patterns that you'd be taught in the class. So high DHT also causes, as we mentioned, the prostate to grow, which leads to prostate cancer. Cancer.gov studied about 19,000 men, one of the largest studies done, and they found if you treated that high DHT, returned it down to normal levels, you could decrease prostate cancer by 30%. So what is the stop and regrow difference? Well, our biggest difference is it works, or the money back. So we're here to get something to work, but we haven't had to give the money back yet. So it's going to work for your client as well. It actively stops to stop hair loss and then regrows hair thicker. We call it stop and regrow because we're going to stop it from getting worse before we start to regrow it better. Clinically proven for 7 years now, personalized based on your DNA to make it effective without side effects. What is the Stop and Regrow personalized program? Well, the program starts with early identification of treatable miniaturized hairs. That's why it's very important for you to understand what patterns of hair loss are treatable, the miniaturization is. The next thing we do is get them into a doctor so we can do a DNA assessment. We look at the body's chemistry so that we can personalize medicines. Next gets us to the combination holistic therapy approach. Part of it, as we mentioned, is personalized medicines using FDA-approved active ingredients, but a recipe that we decide based on your personalized labs. The next thing is we go over diet and nutrition, and we educate the client on how to get protein, which makes up the dead keratinized hair, inside their body, and we teach them how the kidney allows us to get 30 grams of protein into the body every 3 hours. The other thing is behavioral guidance, mind over matter. Epigenetics is where the environment turns on and off genes inside our cells. Even if we get the medicine right, we need to then get their minds right and get some of the stress out of their world so they can focus on growing hair. How do the other hair loss options compare? Well, Rogaine came around about 34 years ago, and that's the active ingredient in minoxidil or any other foam that talks about growing hair. But minoxidil only allows you to grow hair, but it doesn't stop hair loss. Stopping hair loss is related to DHT, and that's what we would teach you in the class, how to stop DHT. The other question we're asked is Propecia. Well, we educate people on why there's a better option than Propecia to block the DHT. It has to do with half-lives, with the number of receptors that are blocked, stuff that you'd learn in the class. Laser comb and cap. Well, I imagine it wouldn't make the hair any worse, but it would probably just make the hair a little bit healthier, but it doesn't stop hormonal issues that cause hair loss. Supplements and shampoos, they're allowed to say anything. That's called marketing. In the seminar, you'll learn what an active ingredient is, and you'll learn how nothing shampoo-wise or supplement could ever change the hormones of the body. That's why we need doctors and DNA involved in our prescription program. Hair transplants, yes, they are permanent and they do work, and they're getting pretty good where they're not that painful, but they don't stop the hormonal imbalance. We're going to continue to lose the rest of our hair after the hair transplant, so we'll end up shaving our heads usually at the end anyway. The other thing is that hair transplants don't stop the prostate growth. So there are other issues why we're going to get started with something to stop hair loss. We're also going to treat the health of the entire person, not just their hair. We educate our clients, don't wait until it's late. Doing nothing, not going to work. So get started doing something. We also talk about having 100,000 hairs on our head and losing 100 hairs normally every day as the body sheds some of our hair to make room for the new ones to come in. But 10 hairs out of those 100 are lost permanently every day that we're not doing something to stop that hormonal imbalance. 10 hairs per day over 13.5 years equals about 50,000 hairs, about 50%. So once it starts over about 15, 20 years, we'll lose the 50% of our hair. So getting started early is the key.